Hello, everyone. The question is, did Nigeria abandon President Goodluck Jonathan while he was trapped in a country where a coup just happened, Guinea-Bissau, right? They were there for election monitoring, as former president, one who had what's that conceded, conceded. I remember, when Jonathan, just to digress a little bit, I remember when Jonathan conceded election, and I tweeted about it. I was saying this is so statesman-like and everything. A lot of people attacked me. No, is that not what's supposed to do? Is there anything? I said, look, there's nothing like that's what anybody's supposed to do. He can obviously say that no, he's not accepting the election and everything can go bloody or whatever, I refuse to accept or one thing or the other. But the fact that he conceded, I always believe that, saying things as it is, it doesn't matter who is whatever. If you do right, we will say you did right. If you do wrong, we will say you do wrong. There's nothing personal, about it. But anyway, after his tenure, of course, he has been on a lot of, election observation. He also has his own organization that's generally, or handle those kind of things. And while they were there, the next thing cool happened. And then I don't know what's happening in Africa. I hope, as much as people are romanticizing coup, military takeover is the worst thing that can happen in any country. But the way that, the democratically elected or selected rulers are behaving, they are making military more and more attractive to people, especially the younger generation who have never had to, who have not experienced military before. Those of us of the older generation that have experienced military before, we know how deadly it can be when that power, unilateral power, is in somebody's hand to just make decrees and wake up in the morning and say, look, nobody should be drinking water. And that's it, it becomes law. There's no first reading, second reading, third reading, passed into law as said. You woke up in the morning, hey, stop everybody, every citizen should stop drinking water. It becomes, a decree, and that's what is being, followed. So while he was there, of course, he was trapped in there, airspaces were short, and it was, I think, Cote d'Ivoire that sent its jet to go and pick Jonathan up. And Nigerian journalist and Arise News co-host Hussaini Rufai has criticized the Bola Tinubu administration, illegitimate administration as far as I'm concerned, over its inability to evacuate former President Goodluck Jonathan during the Guinea-Bissau coup, accusing officials of hypocrisy by branding citizens as the marketers while failing in a moment of crisis. And I think it's very important for us to understand that, look, a former president it's not just like, as much as sometimes that we're not saying that human beings some are more better than others, but there are certain position or certain responsibility that people have had that you must give them that whole thing. This is a former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is a former number one person of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. There is a coup somewhere, that person is trapped. As long Nigeria is to deploy everything immediately, even if it's whatever, fighter jets and whatever, and say they are landing there. Look, we need to come in and evacuate our former president. This is one of those number one citizens in Nigeria today. How many former presidents do you even have, that are alive? You understand? How many of them? I don't think they are up to 10. We still have, let me just scan. We have Abdul Salami. We have, no, we have, let me start with Babangida. We have Babangida. We have Abdul Salami. We have Gawan. I forgot. We have Gawan. We have Obasanjo. We have Jonathan. Buhari is late, right? We have Jonathan. Yeah, I think, who is the last one now? Okay, Buhari is late. So I think we have about six. Definitely, I know there are less than 10. That are still around. So these are like top six Nigerian citizens. When something like this would happen, you would expect immediately deployment, not the one that we were Dali to Cote d'Ivoire came today. His post quickly went viral. He said, because he said, Rufai posted on his, I say, drawing thousands of reaction reports and sharp comments from Nigerians frustrated by what they describe as worsening state capacity under Tinubu. The outrage followed Jonathan's evacuation for Guinea-Bissau on Wednesday after soldiers seized power, detained the president, and shut down borders during an intense outbreak of fire in the capital, Bissau. Jonathan had traveled to the country as the ECOWAS special envoy and was trapped alongside other regional representatives when the military takeover began. He was eventually flown out through an Ivorian presidential aircraft to Abidjan before returning to Abuja later that night. The Nigerian Ministry of Foreign Affairs said it arranged a special flight in coordination with ECOWAS, although the evacuation was ultimately carried out by Ivory Coast. Jonathan later explained that landing clearances and security concerns made the Ivorian option faster and less risky during the unfolding coup. Well, that's his own explanation. But come on, Nigeria, there's a way. All of this into dele. What's the flight from Nigeria to Ivory Coast? To Guinea-Bissau? What's the time? Aha. But anyway, his remarks have fueled criticism that Nigeria, despite its claim of regional leadership, was sidelined during a security emergency involving one of its former presidents. Of course, who is not going to sideline Nigeria with the kind of thing that we have right now happening in Nigeria? There's no how Nigeria is not going to be sidelined. You can't have bad leadership and expect that every people are going to look up to you. There's no authority. There's no legitimacy. There's no there's no that you know when you talk about power, there are different kind of powers. Constitutional power, you also have the one where the person is seen as having something. There's really nothing like that in all of this one. Analysts said the incident had intensified public debate about Nigeria's diminishing regional influence and contrast between Tinubu's rhetoric and the state's ability to act decisively. The backlash also highlights growing dissatisfaction among citizens who feel that official accusations of demarketing Nigeria are often used to silence legitimate criticism than address a failure. When you're talking about demarketing Nigeria, there's nobody that demarkets Nigeria more than Tinubu. Tinubu is the demarket of Nigeria. The fact that you have someone like that who has been accused of certificate forgery, who has been found wanting in drug dealings to the extent that he had to pay a fine of $460,000 such a decades and decades ago. That is more than anything about. So when you talk about the marketing, him alone has finished the marketing Nigeria. There's nothing. We don't have respect. Nobody wants to have anything to do with him unless it is absolutely necessary. And that's also reflecting and affecting, Nigeria and the Nigerian people. So they come out and tell you you're the marketing Nigeria and all of that. Meanwhile, their incompetence more than anything has been the things that are demarketing Nigeria more, apart from also his presence and the kind of criminal records that are attached to him in the whole of this. Supporters of Peter Obi, who often describe him as a model of responsible leadership, joined the conversation by contrasting his approach with what they call the government's habit of excuses. The Tinubu administration has not responded to the reaction trailing the evacuation or Rufai's viral remarks. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.